in the vast African savannah, where the sun scorches the earth and the winds dance among the trees, a small lion cub was born. His eyes, still closed to the world, were destined to see the wonders and dangers of a wild life. He came into the world amidst a large lion family, where strength and courage were the pillars that sustained survival. However, fate had a harsh and unexpected path reserved for the young lion. For unknown reasons, his mother and the other members of the pride abandoned him. Without protection, without guidance, he found himself alone in a world that seemed too big for such a small heart. The first days were the hardest. The cub, fragile and inexperienced, wandered the savannah in search of his family. His desperate call echoed across the plains, but no one answered. Loneliness weighed like a stone on his chest, and soon hunger and thirst began to take over his small body. He found himself facing danger at every corner. Hyenas laughed sinisterly as they saw him pass, and eagles circled in the sky, watching for the moment he would succumb to exhaustion. Yet there was a flame within him, an unexplored strength that kept him moving even when his legs trembled with exhaustion. It was during one of these moments of weakness that the lion cub spotted a small puddle of water. He ran towards it, his steps shaky and uncertain, and quenched his thirst. The cold, refreshing water brought a breath of life, and for the first time, he felt he might survive. As the days passed, the cub began to learn to survive. The need for food forced him to develop skills he didn't even know he possessed. He started by hunting small insects, then moved on to capturing rodents and other small animals. Every meal was a victory, and each victory, a step toward self-discovery. He also began to understand that to survive, he needed to be smarter than the predators surrounding him. Instead of confronting them, he learned to hide, to use the terrain to his advantage, and to avoid unnecessary confrontations. It was a game of patience and strategy, and he was becoming a master at it. Despite his growing strength, the cub still felt the absence of a family. On silent nights, he looked at the stars and wondered where his mother and siblings were. But over time, he began to realize that even without them, he was capable of surviving. More than that, he was thriving. One day, while exploring a new area of the savannah, the cub came across a situation that would test all his limits. He encountered a group of hyenas much bigger and stronger than he was. They had captured prey and were feasting, but the cub, weakened by hunger, knew he needed that food to survive. For a moment, fear paralyzed him. He was small and fragile compared to those beasts, and instinct told him to run. But another voice, deeper and more powerful, whispered in his mind, "You are a lion. The savannah is your home. Show them who you really are." With a roar that even surprised himself, the cub charged forward. The hyenas, surprised by the audacity of such a small being, retreated for a moment. But they soon realized he was alone and prepared to attack him. The cub, however, did not back down. He fought with all the strength he had accumulated over his solitary journeys. The battle was fierce, but the cub stood his ground. His heart beat fast, and he used every technique he had learned to dodge, attack, and survive. The hyenas, realizing it wouldn't be easy to defeat him, decided the prey wasn't worth the effort and moved away, leaving him victorious. This victory marked a turning point in the cub's life. He had faced his greatest fear and emerged victorious. He felt stronger, more confident, and began to realize that he was no longer a defenseless cub. He was becoming a true lion, a respected predator in the savannah. From that day on, the cub began to assert himself more. He hunted more efficiently, explored new areas of the savannah without fear, and even confronted other predators when necessary. His reputation began to grow, and other animals started to see him with respect and caution. The cub was no longer a survivor. He was a potential leader, a future king of the savannah. And although he still missed his family, he knew he had found something even more valuable, his own inner strength. One day, while exploring the edges of the savannah, the cub found another group of lions. They were strong and healthy, but what caught his attention was the way they moved together, like a true family. For a moment, he hesitated to approach, fearing being rejected again. But something in the gaze of the leader of that group encouraged him. The leader, an imposing male with battle scars, looked at the cub with curiosity and respect. He had heard of a young lion who had challenged hyenas and survived alone. And upon seeing the cub, he recognized in him a spirit similar to his own. The leader invited the cub to join his pride, and for the first time in a long time, the small lion felt he had found a home. He integrated into the group, learned new hunting and fighting techniques, and grew even stronger. He also began to take on responsibilities, helping protect the younger members and leading hunts. Over the years, the cub grew into an imposing adult, with a majestic mane and a roar that made the savannah tremble. He was no longer the abandoned cub of before. He had become a leader, respected for his courage, wisdom, and strength. One day, the old leader of the pride, now weakened by time, called the now adult lion and declared that he would be his successor. With tears in his eyes, the old lion passed the leadership to the young one, knowing he had made the right choice. The cub, now a true king, looked out over the savannah that once terrified him and felt deep gratitude. He had overcome all the challenges life had thrown at him, had grown and become stronger, and was now ready to lead his new family with justice and courage. The story of the abandoned lion cub is a powerful reminder that even in the most difficult situations, there is an inner strength that can guide us and help us overcome any obstacle. We all face challenges in our lives, but it is how we react to them that defines who we truly are. Don't miss out on more inspiring stories like this one. Subscribe to our channel now and join a community of resilience and motivation.